Hi there. It is February 1st. Finally, my brain has turned on this morning. Took a while. I have to start by watching some booktube. My wake up routine and had some breakfast. Now I'm gonna take a shower. But what I'm reading is, read this while I was having breakfast. It's the 5th volume of which. Really enjoying it. We're in the middle of fighting our arc-long villain, and I am watching Booked with Jamila after having watched Angela, who just announced today she's doing a Patreon, part of which is a tier where you pay for her cat food and you get to see cute pictures and videos of her cats. So that's cool. But also, the reason I turned on the camera before I took a shower, which I'm about to do, is I just wanted you to appreciate my cat. She came in to spend the morning with me. She's so sweet. You are, we. Yeah. Okay, shower taken. Now I'm off to get drive-through lunch with my mom. Afterwards we will sit in a car in a park and eat it. So something I need to do today is group shoot a bunch of bookstagram shots. Some of these will be physical books that I've got, but also I'm going to do something that I did back in November, which is make a pretty flat lay shot thing and then put an image of a cover over it, because I'm doing a whole slew of recommendations for Black History Month, and there are a bunch of books I want to recommend that I don't physically have. And I really liked how that one shot turned out. It's this one, and so I'm hoping to do that again. And so I've got at least 15 books lined up. We'll see if there are more as I go on. So this is a big pile of scarves because scarves are some of my favorite props, and then I will gather some other junk from around my room. Now I'm editing in the photos. I use Be Funky. It works really well for me while listening to Starla talk about reads coming out in February. I really like this color scheme. I'm also going to get the bathtub going because it's bath day. Yes, I take a shower in the bath on the same day. I can't wash my hair in the bath for various reasons, mostly because I use a lot of product and it is then in the water and then it doesn't work well. One is for cleanliness, the other is for relaxation. I take very quick showers and I take very long baths. Are these your scarves now, Frodo? They're Frodo's scarves now. And also headband. That was one of my... Yes? Am I bothering you? Am I bothering you, Frodo? Yeah. So I'm gonna read this in the bath, and that'll check off a couple of things. I read hardcovers in the bath and no paperbacks, because paperbacks, if it sits in the steam too long, it'll warp a little bit. I'm very careful with my books. The only book I've ever dropped in the bath was a book that I owned. And I've been a lot more careful since then. This is all our doodahs for putting in the bath, but I don't use bath salts anymore because I figured out that was what was causing my nose to stuff up really bad, because my whatever receptors are in my nose is like, that's a bad thing. You better make a bunch of mucus so you can sneeze it all out, except then I would just get stuffed up and it wouldn't actually come out. So now I just waft my favorite scents, which this one is. We've colored them ourselves because they're like, you know, pretty potions. Almond, that's what it is. Almond scented, and that's like my favorite scent ever. So I just sniff it and use a little bit of this in front of my nose because that also helps get rid of congestion. And this is my pillow, and it's floating in the water to warm it up because it's full of water. So if you just use it when it hasn't been soaking in hot water, it is very cold. And the nicest thing for me about baths is that it takes the pressure off my lower back, and no matter whether I'm sitting or laying or standing or walking, there's always a lot of pressure on that area. And so being able to semi-float in the bath really helps that, in addition to the warm water relaxing the muscles at the same time. So I said I don't usually drop books in the bath, and I don't, but I do regularly drop my phone in it, so that's in some rice now. But I read 90 pages of The Way to the Stars, and I'm really liking it so far. It's got a character who is an outcast at her school. She's a high schooler, probably a senior, maybe just a junior, because of race and socioeconomic status, and she has gathered a little troop of other misfits around her and regularly grabs on more. And the premise of this book is she is now attempting to bring this person into her little group because she is having a lot of psychological troubles because her mom is on a deep space mission and will basically never be coming back. And I really love that whole misfit group together thing, so I'm enjoying that a lot, and I think this will go pretty fast because I read 90 pages of it without being bored at all. I'm only this far into it and I'm already remembering how bad the secondhand embarrassment is in this series. My little baby's just sitting there being adorable. Yes, you are. Yes, you're so sweet, Sam. All that stuff is like that because I have little girls who come over every Wednesday and play with my toys. Yeah, they really like that castle. It is a very nice castle. Because you are so cute, I love you. Okay, so it's 2 o'clock on Tuesday and I haven't read it all today. I did get some craft supplies for a project that I might show you something of. It's a long-term project that's going to take a lot of time, so I want to save most of it for the DIY video. But right now, since the sun is shining, I'm going to do some art stuff because I can read when it's dark outside, but I can't film when it's dark outside. So I'm going to work on this month's reading journal. I'm going to set up a little table to draw my books on top of and draw in the covers of the books I'm reading for the Blacklit Challenge. These are some of the details about them. And then over here I've got my VaLITines thing where I'm going to fill out all of the bingo board squares, and then I'm going to draw out the different things that I do for the different challenges on different websites, and this is a little rendition of little bitty faces of a lot of the booktubers that I am friends with. Which is not exhaustive in any way, I just wanted to represent the point of VaLITines being that you are celebrating your love of books and of the bookish community, and they are some of the parts of my bookish community and I really love them. And after that, I am either going to dive back into The Weight of the Stars or start the Uno of the Dawn series that I have acquired from the library. So I've gotten most of the journaling stuff done. I'll show you a bit of that, but now I need to do a stack of books that looks like a heart for the Instagram VaLITines challenge. So we're gonna see how that works out. That is as good as it's gonna get in this type of stacking form. Let's try a laid out form. There, that works quite a bit better. So I also need to do some Cupid post stuff today, which is a thing where you're set up with people to mail things to. for VaLITines, and mail's gonna take a while, so I'm gonna start today. And I have a bunch of cards that we get for free, and I've kept them in case I ever have someone to send a letter or a card to. And some of them are like birthday cards or get well cards, but I'm gonna sort through and find some pretty ones that are like just nice, happy, have a good day ones, and send those, because they're really pretty cards that should be sent to someone. So it's 6:30 in the morning. This one never came in last night. We keep the little cats locked up at night in their own room because they need to eat kitten food, and we need to leave the other food out for the other cats, and these cats like to eat the big cat food, even though it's not good for them, and I can't believe it tastes as good because it's not as caloric. He didn't come in last night, so he got to just stuff himself full of big cat food, didn't he? Yeah. And he showed up now. Of course, I had to have a little anxiety thing about, well, he didn't show up, that means he's dead. Because my anxiety really likes to get me with the cats. I am up right now. Are you, pretty boy? Yeah, you like that blanket, don't you? Anyway, I'm up because it's babysitting day. It's a half-hour drive, and I need to be there at 8. Yes. And I've got Angela going because she's just come out with her January wrap-up. You are not allowed on the table. No. Why could you possibly be here to see me in the morning? Could it be because I have cereal and you want the leftover milk? Could that be why? I am back, and I've just made Sam purr, so I'm gonna film him for a second. Hi. Is that the most wonderful sound in the world? Yes. Anyway, what I was going to say is that I'm back from work, and it's about 4 in the afternoon. Are your ears itchy again? Yeah, I'll have to do something about that. But yesterday and a little this morning, I've made progress in The Way to the Stars, and I'm really, really liking it. It is just kind of a warm hug of a book, and I love that. I just feel really good whenever I read it, and so I read quite a bit of it at a time. I'm at page 188 now, so what Sean McGuire said about it being gentle and gracious and stuff is really true, and I'm really glad that I didn't let the fact that it was a contemporary with some sad elements put me off, because it's just really, really nice. And kind of reminds me of This Is What It Feels Like, because that one also was a contemporary with some sad elements, but that was so much about friendship and friend groups and repairing hurts. From the plot description, wouldn't be something I would think I would like, but because of the characters and their relationships and how much it talked about love of various kinds, made it just, like I said, a very warm hug of a book. So it's really nice to have another one of those, because I don't find them very often. And I'm also halfway through the first volume of Yona of the Dawn, and so far it's sticking pretty close to the anime. We're mostly just getting the first kickoff moment of there being a coup, and Princess Yona having to run away with her general, who is also her childhood friend. And beyond that, it's mostly been flashbacks, so we don't know what's happened in the current storyline very far, but we're getting a lot of information about their backstory and the setup of all of this, which is kind of necessary because there's a lot of backstory between the two main characters and the main antagonist that is kind of needed to understand all of their feelings at the moment. Oh, and while I was babysitting, I usually read on my Kindle. It usually doesn't take all of my concentration. They entertain themselves pretty well. They just need, supervised. And so I finished up Please Don't Hug Me, which I got because it is Own Voice's autistic representation, and I've been reading that between library books for a while because I own it, and so it's taken me a very long time, but I finally finished it. I barely read any of it this vlog, so I won't talk very much about it, but basically it's about this girl writing letters to her brother all about her life, and it goes in chronological format because she's writing almost every day, and we find out basically about her last year of high school, and it's really emotional and brings up a lot of stuff. You're just determinedly purring. It's very nice. Yeah. You give me those healing vibes. Yeah, he's had problems with ear mites for basically since we got them, and we've been battling them off and on, and it's gone up and down. And we've tried treating it with the over-the-counter meds you can get, but you have to do that like every day, and he really doesn't appreciate that, and you have to put drops in his ears, whereas the kind you can get from the vet, you put on the back of their neck and it lasts a whole month. So since this hasn't been working, I think we'll have to do that again.
Yeah, put some. Don't mess with my ears, please. It's not nice.
Oh, but also today I've watched the video from Where in the World is Leah Jane about the video VaLITines challenge, the first one, and it's about thinking about self-care and talking about self-care and reframing self-care in a non-shameful way, because she talked about how keeping her house clean and budgeting are linked to a lot of shame for her. There's glare and I'm not sure where it's coming from, but anyway, and it's a little bit that way for me too, but I've been working on getting away from that for a long time, as I've been accepting the whole chronically ill, don't have very many spoons thing. But I am thinking of doing a speed clean segment where I fold all my clothes that are not folded and put them away in drawers instead of having them in a big laundry hamper in the middle of my room, which it makes me feel better to know that my cousin who has ADHD does the same thing. And I do tackle it like every month or so, that it comes back, because that's how laundry works. But anyway, it also made me think of how I've just started learning Japanese because I got suddenly reinterested in it because of reading some manga and making a video about Japanese, which I should probably publish soonish, but it's part of a thing where I'm thinking of doing 2 videos a week at least for a while. I'm not sure how sustainable that is, but I've really felt extra creative lately and wanted to make more bookish sort of videos, though on a little bit wider topics like language and the not like other girls trope. And I'd really like to do that, so I've been saving up a couple, and I might start doing that in February, or I might put it off till March, depending on how long it takes me to get a backlog. But anyway, about the Japanese thing, I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing it through Duolingo, the free version, and it's slow and it's not too intense, but it works really well. And alongside it, I'm doing some of my own study because I've figured out that it helps me a lot to remember things if I use multiple forms. So like writing it out physically helps a lot, and also listening to it. So I'm also listening to Japanese outside of Duolingo. But even with all of that, it just feels really relaxed, and I just get a lot of joy from it, probably because it's a special interest related thing. But that has just made me happy without accomplishing anything lately, so that's really nice and kind of fits in with the whole self-care thing. Arwen has no problem with me not folding my clothes. She likes to make nests. Actually, all the cats like to make nests out of my piles of clean clothes. I just don't usually film it because I know people are going to judge me for being a mess of a person. But anyway, it's very cute. Ta-da! This was a lot of work. And I'm still not quite finished. I've got some more rolled shirts here. This is what the stuff that I have to hang up on hangers, which is, you know, have to get up and lean down and all sorts. And of course this is Arwen, who says, no, don't put away your clothes.
Foot down.
Foot down.
You gotta figure that out. And then you want this seam to stay flat, too.
Oh, she got up and got offended. Oh, no, now she's this lump. There you are. Hi! Look what I got. It's cushion. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, it's nice. Mm-hmm. Oh, oh, yeah. Oh, it's nice. Yeah.
Hey there, so it's Saturday. I figure I should probably wrap this up so I can get it out on Tuesday. I don't have the books to waft at you anymore because they've gone back to the library, most of them. First of all, I finished The Way to the Stars, and I really liked it. The ending started to look like I might not like it based on stuff that happened in the last third to quarter of the book, but the epilogue redeemed it for me. As I said, it's mostly about these relationships between these teenagers, but is also slightly about journeying to space and the idea of going on a deep space mission where you're never going to come back and it's very slow and you're trying to go really far away and it'll take your whole life to get any decent distance. And whether or not that would be worth it. And in my opinion, it's not, especially at the time that they're describing in this story where technology is advancing fast enough that you could actually catch up to a previous deep space mission with new technology that allows you to go faster. So why wouldn't you just wait those years on Earth instead of in space and make the faster engines? At least wait until the extent where it's a 10-year journey instead of a 60-year journey, you know? And it also made me think about deciding when you're 18 to do something for the rest of your life and how most of the adults I know have not done the same thing their whole lives. And it seems like a really big deal to decide to do something for the rest of your life that you cannot take back when you're that young. Also, if you'd watched an episode of Star Trek Voyager called, I think, The Void or something like that, but it's one where they're traveling through a 2-year-long space journey where there's no stars or planets or interesting things to look at. They just have to get through it to get to the other side on their journey home. And that whole episode is about the psychological effects of being stuck on this spaceship of 150 people with nothing to look at out the windows and nothing to do particularly except hang out on the holodeck, which is pretty awesome, and write books and practice your songs for 2 years. And like, that's so much expounded if you're on this deep space journey with years between the planets of your own solar system, and when you get to the planet there aren't even people there, you just get to look at it. And like the psychological effects that would have, especially when in this case you're on a ship with like 20 other people instead of 150 and you don't have holodecks. No thank you. And it's not like they have a ton of interesting telemetry to look at all the time and examine new stuff, because they can't get that much more from out there in between planets than we can get down here. Bit of a weird book, but overall really liked it and definitely gave me the good feels, because it was only partially about that space stuff. It was a lot about relationships and taking care of each other. I also really liked the endings that several of the side characters got. Those were really nice. So I also finished the first volume of Yona of the Dawn. I really liked it. It's very much in line with what I remember from the anime, and as I said, I'm already remembering how awkward some of the scenes are and how much secondhand embarrassment there is, but it's actually a lot easier to like skip over that part or like not take it on so hard in this format versus in the anime. I didn't have to actually get up and walk away and pace around my house to deal with the awkwardness like I do when I watch the anime version. Probably a combination of music and voice acting that lends itself to that. But as I said, we're learning a lot about the backstories, and I already know this information, but I really enjoy these backstories, so I'm having a good time learning more, being reminded of those, and just kind of experiencing those again. Then I also finished Witch Volume 6, which is about the antagonist for this arc going after Will, the leader of the group specifically, and doing all sorts of psychological attacks and attacking through dreams and controlling other people to have them say manipulative things. And so we get to see Will working through that and how her friends react to her acting weird because of it, and lots of more friendship and taking care of each other no matter what vibes that I really enjoy from that series. Oh, and I'll show you what I was making on Wednesday. So I was making this seat cover. My cats have been checking out this new piece of furniture for a while. These are going to have drawer fronts on them. They just don't yet because you have to buy a different type of wood and then do a bunch of messing with it. But I can use them as drawers. And Arwen has really liked sitting on my curtains here that now pool because it's there, but she definitely prefers it now that it has this nice cushy thing. So I got some fabric I really like that went with the green and is my favorite color, pink. And I'm trying to tempt her to come over here and lay on this instead so I can cut this off, but she likes it over there, so that's where she's gonna be. I really enjoyed sewing that. It made me feel really cool having a new skill. Unfortunately, the hardest part about sewing is figuring out where to sew, not the actual sewing itself, and then having to redo it if you've done it in the wrong place. So going on to make other things will still be difficult, but I am really excited to actually be able to use a sewing machine now. So that has been my first week of VaLITines. I'm really enjoying it. I hope you guys are having a great month. I've heard of lots of other great readathons that are going on, and whether you're joining a readathon or not, I hope you're enjoying whatever you've been reading. If you'd like to leave an emoji, how about a cat, as there's been quite a bit of cat content in this vlog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!